What are the major transformations in the United States television news in this moment?
I think the major transformation, not necessarily relevant, recent, but incredibly relevant, is the ability for consumers to consume news 24 hours a day on the internet. Instead of tuning in every day at 5 o'clock and consuming news for 1 hour a day, consumers are exposed and consuming news from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed every night. And that can be through social media like Twitter. It can be through mobile applications like Apple News. It can be through smart home devices by simply asking Alexa to tell you today's headlines. I think that a big change is the access to news versus tuning in once a day and hearing it from one person for an hour.
How is used the phone as a second screen in the consumer of television?
Well, sometimes for some individuals, the phone is, their primary screen. For the younger generation, mobile devices outrule televisions, outrule, desktops, laptops. And so the phone, what's unique about the phone is it goes everywhere with you. You don't necessarily take your television with you anywhere. You don't take your desktop with you everywhere. You may take a tablet or a laptop. But for a lot of people, the phone has become the primary source of entertainment, of news, of communication, of, overall their connected lifestyle.
So the phone is the most important device in our life in this moment?
I would argue yes. Yes. Now, and I also think that that can change according to, of course, country. In some countries, wearables are starting to compete with the phone. But the phone and the adoption of the phone, I think, rivals the television for top.
You are a specialist in virtual reality.
Yes, kind of.
How is used virtual reality in television?
What a lot of news organizations right now are trying to figure out how to do is how to tap into the virtual and augmented reality markets, because those allow for a consumer to be more interactive with consuming the news, whereas a screen is, that's a one-way dialogue. I sit, I watch the screen, I receive the information. Whereas the augmented and virtual reality worlds are meant to be interactive. And so I'm not saying any news organization does it well, but I know that there is a lot of money being funneled into exploring the possibilities for augmented reality, virtual reality, any type of artificial intelligence and its incorporation in the news.
It's legal for the journalists to be political party members in the United States of America in this moment, but if so, is a journalist neutral in his texts?
That is a hard one for me. No. I would say that they would all probably say that they are attempting to be neutral, but right now our country is very divided, as I'm sure you all know, and polarized, and almost all news, whether the journalist is a politician or is not a politician, there are undertones of one side or the other, whether we like it or not.
How can you reduce the polarity of the society?
That is a deep question. That is very hard to do with our current administration, because our current administration is feeding on that polarity and on that divide, and rallying a base that a lot find issue with. I would say right now there's not a clear solution. We are stuck in a time where patience and time is going to be the only healing factor.
What is the future of the press in this moment if we see internet killing the classical press, destroying television?
Destroying newspapers, written journalism.
Right, yes. What's the future?
Well, I think the number one thing is that we have to, if we're going to rely on the internet to be our primary news source, we have to better educate individuals in society to differentiate between real news and fake news, because that is the primary problem we face right now, where, you know, if I tune into the 5 o'clock news, I expect to be getting accurate information. Whereas if I Google, you know, today's top headlines, I may not always be given the most credible sources in my Google search. So the first thing we have to do is teach individuals to differentiate between real and fake news. But the future is going to be, I think, fast. I think that some long-form journalism will eventually fade away. You know, the attention span of Generation Z is an average of 3 seconds. They want things that are consumable quickly. They want things that are interactive. Video is key. You know, they are going to watch a video before they're going to read a story, even if that's on their mobile device. And so I think the future is tapping into the future generations and what they have been, what their expectations are. And their expectations are fast and video. And if we can follow along, then we'll maintain an educated society. But if we try to force more traditional news, you know, on the younger generation, they're not going to be active participants.
What are the most important transformations of YouTube today?
YouTube right now, it has a lot of potential. Yes, it can be a news source, and yes, it is a news source, but I think YouTube more right now is fueling what, you know, individuals call influencers, or the influencer market. And most of those influencers are not news influencers, you know, fashion and all kinds of other more lifestyle topics. YouTube, I mean, YouTube is one of the primary search engines that we have right now. I don't know that I would classify YouTube yet as a news source, though. I think it is a source for information, but I think information and news can be very different. And I think it's a source for lifestyle topics, but I'm not sure yet that it's reached news capacity.
What are the most important social networks in the United States?
This is so interesting because we talked about this morning. Okay, so the 3 big are Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And what's very interesting is the way that they break down according to age. So Facebook was originally, of course, rolled out for college students and then opened, you know, for the wider audiences. And when that happened, an older demographic joined Facebook, and the younger demographic has faded away. So right now, Facebook is king for our older generations, and then the younger generations are all transferring to Instagram. And of course, with Facebook's purchase of Instagram, they're all under one umbrella, but they're used incredibly different, and they're used by 2 incredibly different audiences. And then we have a high adoption of Twitter. You know, our secondaries would be LinkedIn. I don't think LinkedIn has quite reached as many individuals yet. A lot of people and a lot of organizations don't yet know what to do with LinkedIn. So I would not put it in the top 3, but Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are king right now.
Mrs. Professor, thank you very much.
You're welcome.